What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture.
Over the last year and a half, high up in the Ozark Hills in the state of Arkansas, dozens of people have been working hard, leveling the land, building houses. They call it an intentional community based around shared ancestry. A long-winded way of saying something really quite simple.
There's nothing wrong with this at all. And if you ask me, anybody who tries to form some type of negative opinion about this, they either have an agenda, they got some type of political agenda, or they are insecure. Insecure, and they feel somehow rejected, okay? In a sense, they have the problem, not the people who are out here establishing this community. This is actually extremely productive. Extremely productive. Okay? As long as they're not hurting nobody, as long as they're not attacking anybody, there is nothing wrong with this at all. Again, in fact, it is a good thing.
I think we would generally be called far right, sure.
It's called Return to the Land, and they invited me in.
A lot of people are going to be, why are you making Nazi references?
Right. Well, why wouldn't I?
A seemingly bucolic and sometimes surreal experience. But this is built on a radical modern premise, made possible because of a new political and technological moment. One with strong ties to the most active far-right groups in the US. Instead of taking to the streets, they are building their own, for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
So there you go. Once again, nothing wrong with this. I don't care that these are far right. I'm talking about this act and this act alone. I'm not going to discuss any other belief or ideology that these people may have. This right here, what you're looking at, is not racist. Now, sadly, unfortunately, you have some people who speak out against it. Now, I'm going to give an example of both people who have a political agenda and people who are simply insecure. Let's start off with Aunt Jemima. Shout out to Water God TV.
Y'all get on this internet and say and do anything to ruffle somebody's feathers. Do you really think, and I'm going to speak on behalf of most of the African American people, because y'all know we have a sense of humor. We don't give a damn about y'all having no whites only community. Some of y'all people in y'all own race, some of the people that's actually white, don't want to be over there with y'all. So take your ass over there. We don't care. They can make white only communities all across the United States if they want to. We don't give a damn because everybody in y'all race don't even want to be white. Some of them don't want to even hang out with y'all because y'all with that bullshit, that crazy shit. For what?
Now, if you truly saw nothing wrong with this, why the need to attack them? Why are you insulting these people if you don't see anything wrong with it? It's because you do. You feel rejected, Big Keisha, and you feel insecure about that. Oh, white people don't want to live around us. Don't sit up here and pretend like you don't have a problem with it when you're sitting up here insulting and degrading these people. If you truly didn't think anything was wrong with it, you would be talking about the positive things associated with doing something like this. These people are leveling the land, controlling and managing resources like from the ground up. There's nothing to do but admire this. This is what actually gave black Americans their reputation in this country. Quiet as kept. Black Americans established our reputation not as being lazy, but as building our own communities from the ground up. That is what we started to do immediately after we were freed from slavery, at least some of us. Though the black Americans who were enslaved in these countries, as soon as they were released, they started building communities from the ground up, just like these people are doing. There is no reason at all to insult these people, Big Mama, Big Aunt Jemima, Big Keisha. You insecure about this. Let's continue.
What y'all gonna have over there in y'all white only community that we can't have in the communities that we live in already? Hell, we all the party. What the hell wrong with y'all?
Ugh. Shut up. So ignorant. So ratchet. Lady, shut up. I can't listen to any more of this lady. Oh my goodness. Who cares? Who cares? Why are you even asking a stupid question like that? What are y'all gonna have in the all-white community that we don't have? Who cares? You see, she's heartbroken, and she does not speak for black Americans at all. Now you saw that disclaimer or whatever it was at the beginning of this video, which was crazy. This right here, warning. This report contains themes of racism and homophobia. There's no racism or homophobia in here. It's actually the law that you can have like private memberships and private groups and stuff like that. That's all this is. They vet you before you come in, okay? And you got to meet certain criteria to be a member of this group. Simple as that. If they want to move out there to preserve their race, preserve their culture, to sidestep mass immigration, more power to them. And all other communities, all other groups need to take notes. Take notes of what they're doing over here. Now, I cannot say that I would want to do this, because if there were an all-black community, it would have to be an all-black male community. It would have to be an all-black male community. I'm sorry, but our women are too far gone. Black women, I can't even call them our women no more. They're not our women. That's why they could not be tolerated in a civilization like this. Okay? So nothing but respect to this all-white community. I don't care what anybody else says, nothing but respect to them. Okay? This is the attitude that black Americans should have had during the civil rights movement. But you got to remember that largely the push for integration came from the government. It came from actually the white Anglo-Saxon Jewish rulers of this world. It did not come from grassroots black America. It was just that after it had started, after the puppets who were assigned to push integration, there was a bunch of black Americans who went with it under the belief that this was something started by black people. And there was always this inferiority complex in black people that made them want to be accepted. And so it blew up and essentially became something that came from black America. But actually the origins, no, it did not. Black Americans in the beginning were pushing for equal funding, equal resources for our own businesses, for our own schools, etc. Okay? So these people are the ones who are caught up in their emotions. Now I want to show you the people who have a political agenda who are also speaking out against this. This here, and I didn't expect this from Sky News. Didn't expect it. I mean, why give a voice to somebody who's going to say something like this? You see the title. Can U.S. whites only community reintroduce segregation? This lady says that this is actually a display of white supremacy.
At Tom's piece, they're talking to him here. Just throughout the piece, you could really hear them trying to justify what they were doing, talking about the fact that they're trying to preserve their culture and not trying to harm anyone else. And why shouldn't they have a whites-only community?
Well, first of all, let me say Tom did a wonderful job of getting them to talk and talk honestly about their beliefs. I mean, the fact of the matter is this is just bald-faced white supremacy. I don't care if you dress it up as what's wrong with us having our own community or any kind of other strange arguments. That's what the deal is. And these folks are following in a long line in the United States of attempts to reimpose segregation in various ways. And it's extremely problematic. And I might add to you the comments about the Holocaust in particular were quite disturbing.
Yeah.
You can't compare this to segregation. People who self-segregate are not also imposing segregation on other people. They're not forcing black people to live in certain areas. They simply carved out a community of their own and saying that you can't move into that community. That's not the same as segregation. That's more like self-isolation. I don't even know if there's a terminology for it, but this is not what it is. And listen, you can't stop people from believing that they're superior. If a white person, an Asian person somewhere believes that their race is the superior race, you can't stop them. So that's irrelevant. You calling this white supremacy is irrelevant. Let's say that it is. Let's say that each one of them believe that they're superior to blacks, superior to Middle Easterns, to Arabs, to all of these non-whites. Who cares? As long as you don't touch me, as long as you don't try to have some type of negative impact on my life, I don't care what you believe or what you think about yourself.
Yeah, we just talked about the fact that, how disturbing that sort of denial of the Holocaust was. And just talk us through the legality of this, because, again, they're justifying this by saying what they're doing is not legal. But talk us through some of the things that's going on and whether it is, in fact, illegal, because they continue to cite the First Amendment, for example, and freedom of speech to be able to do some of the things that they're doing.
Well, it's clearly illegal to have a project where you're selling land or property on the basis of race. We have a law in the United States called the Fair Housing Act, which forbids segregationist selling of homes. So there's no question that they can't get away with that. These comments about, say, the First Amendment, the right to a free assembly, you're perfectly able to say anything you want pretty much anywhere in the United States, no matter how horrible it is, or to assemble. But when it comes to realty, you're not allowed to do these things. And that's because there was a horrible history in this country of denying people of color the right to buy homes in areas where whites predominated.
And the only reason why blacks wanted to move into those white communities is because those white communities had so much better communities. They were far better funded. I don't want to hear none of this nonsense about why. What do you want to do, lady? You want to force black people to live in this establishment? First of all, why would any black person want to live somewhere like this? Somewhere where they're not wanted? I would imagine that blacks would want to respect their desire to be by themselves. This is a freedom that can't be denied to them. And I don't think there's any rational way to criticize it. You can complain all you want. The bottom line is, in a community like this, it would not make sense for any non-white person to want to live here. What are you going to do? You're going to reverse the laws and then suggest to black people to move out there? Huh? Point out the black people who want to move out there, and I'm going to suggest you examine their brains. Get off that, lady. This is that liberal nonsense. It is very deceptive, where you got these white liberals out here always pushing racism. Oh, this is racist. Oh, that's racist. You should feel horrible about this. You're making blacks feel hurt by rejecting them. Shut up. This is their way of trying to bring out the weak side of black people. They're trying to feed into your weak mentality of dying to be accepted by others, of not feeling like a full and complete human being until you are accepted and embraced by other people. That is a mental disorder. Okay, so go ahead and step with that. Step. Boy, you cannot make this up. Let's continue.
So I guess the question then is, are there going to be, or is there any legal challenges? Do you think the authorities will start to get alarmed, especially if this starts to create a trend?
Well, I'm glad that you all reached out to the Attorney General's office and that they actually responded in this case. My hope would be, and I think the law demands, that there's an immediate investigation into what they're doing and that they're stopped from doing this kind of a racist housing development. I mean, it just is absolutely illegal under American law. And the fact that this is spreading, right, with possible compounds in other parts of Arkansas, Appalachia, the Northwest, is all the more reason to nip this in the bud.
Lady, shut up. We have Chinatown. Chinatown. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, we built all black towns. This is nothing new in America. And in fact, you already have like all white enclaves up in states like Wyoming and Idaho, places up there in the northwest area of the United States. So what's the big deal? See, these people out here, and their job is to make a big deal out of this and to twist it into racism and to convince black people that, hey, you should feel hurt by this. This should be offensive to you. And what? We should want to move out there? What do you plan to do, lady? So this is reverse discrimination, because what you actually are proposing is you want to force these people to live in mixed areas. You want to force them to live in communities where they don't want to live. If there are no communities that fits their preference, what is your problem with them creating the type of community that they want collectively? When you have a bunch of people who want certain types of living conditions, it should be granted to them. If they all want the same thing, it should be granted to them. I have argued for years that we should have we should have pet-free communities all over the country, and communities that focus on dog-free communities. Why? Because several people in this country want it. It's not meant as an attack against people who want pets or who want dogs or no nonsense like that. I'm so thankful for the internet, because the media can no longer control the narrative. If you go to the comment section of this video, you will see several comments from black people who are saying that they have no problem with this at all. No problem with this at all. And we're going to take a look at them. You see, before the internet, the media had almost complete control of the narrative. Almost complete control of the narrative. But now, with the internet, we can come through people of all races can come through and knock it out the water. Look at this. Look at the comments. Look, self-segregation is not forced segregation. Exactly. Y'all, how you gonna make sense out of this? How you gonna make sense out of this? Here's a black woman. I have no problem with this. I'm not in the business of trying to force myself on anyone in any way, as long as the respect is mutual. It's a free country. Nothing forced or threatened. Look at this. Yeah, it's almost nobody is attacking this idea. Look, this is not segregation. This is separation. I don't know. She's probably hurt by it. I don't know. I don't see anything about racism or homophobia. Exactly. Now, if you watch, I can't play the whole thing. If you watch the whole thing, there's nothing about racism, nothing racist in it at all. Look at this. There can be black communities, Asian, Jews, and mixed. Let people live how they choose. Not only that, I've mentioned this before. You can find interviews from black people in Chicago who said that there are no white people in their communities. Chicago has huge black communities where just don't no white people live. The only white people they see is the cops when they roll through and when they leave the community. You already have massive stretches of neighborhoods and communities that's all black. So get out of here. Look at this. Why do people feel white people living together is so extreme? Exactly. Listen, this is a narrative that they're trying to push. This is a narrative that they're trying to push that they really got from the civil rights era, where, let's be honest, in the beginning, Martin Luther King Jr. was compromised. In the beginning, he was compromised. And when he started to rebel, that's when he was taken out of here. His job was to push this idea that blacks and whites need to come together and hold hands and be integrated for the benefit of black people, to make black people feel good, to make black people feel accepted, which is that same old pathetic Democrat, white liberal agenda mentality that, hey, blacks, you should feel hurt, you should feel distraught, you should feel less human as long as they refuse to accept you. Wrong. Wrong. Look at this. Private property is called private for a reason. As a black man, this is absolutely fine. The bad thing is people speaking for us, claiming we have an issue with this when we don't. As long as there's no violence. Exactly. Now, what I suspect is that there are going to be more communities like this in the future. And I've talked about this, that this is what happens when you have massive integration. The people who are there, the people native to that land, I won't say, or whatever, they are going to build their own enclaves to try to get away from this, the destruction of their culture. Whatever they see their culture to be, they are going to try to preserve it. That is why you have so many villages all across Asia and Africa. These were people trying to preserve their cultures because they had been infiltrated by foreigners. The more and more foreigners who invaded their lands, the more these isolated groups that you had popping up. And now when you go to those areas and you visit those tribes, what do we say about them? We say that they are old world, that they follow customs and cultures that are extremely old, thousands of years old. That's because that's the reason why they isolated themselves out there in the first place, to preserve and hold on to those cultures that existed before the invasion of the foreigners, the invaders. And the mass immigration is being seen as an invasion. Not immigration, but an invasion. And this is what has been happening all throughout history. So give it up. You can't turn this into something controversial at all. If you are a black person that's somehow offended by this, get over yourself. Get yourself some mental rehab or something like that. You definitely have self-esteem issues. You're suffering from an inferiority complex. that you need to get in check. It's not a problem that they have, it's a problem that you have. And again, I believe Big Aunt Jemima illustrated this perfectly.
And we got seasoned food over here. Don't get me started. Or what y'all like to stereotype us with. We got plenty of watermelon and fried chicken over here. You think we give a damn about y'all community? Hell, get y'all ass.
She's talking as if these white people did this specifically as an attack against black people. What are you talking about, woman? Shut up. Shut up. Ain't nobody thinking about you. These white people ain't thinking about, they wasn't thinking about you when they established it, thinking about not letting you in their neighborhood, and rightfully so. I'm telling you, man, my experience, the worst types of neighbors to have is black women. That chick with that dog is a problem for everybody here. I don't know if she lives here or if she got a boyfriend here, but there's not many black women out here. But every time one moves out here, she is a drama queen. This one is definitely a drama queen. That stupid dog attacking everybody, and she all fat and letting that thing defecate in the grass and everything. No, y'all are the nuisance. Y'all always fighting, being violent, and I don't even understand why he shared this.
If you're a man.
Yeah. So, if you have, and this dude, I don't even think this dude is American, to be honest. I hope he's not American, but he definitely does not speak for black men, and definitely does not speak for black American men.
There's a group called Return to the Land, a self-declared white-only organization already based in northern Arkansas. Their co-founder just announced that they're eyeing Springfield for expansion. This isn't just talk. They already own 160 acres of land in Arkansas alone, with cabins, wells, and a so-called community center, all for people with European ancestry. That's code for no black, no brown, no Jewish, no non-Christian people. This is white supremacy dressed up as world living. It's illegal, it's very hateful, and it has no place in Missouri or anywhere else in America. Well, maybe the White House. But we need to be loud about this. Contact your local reps, share their story.
Hateful? Shut up. This dude sounds sugary too. You sound sugary, bro. Hateful? This is stupid. This perspective don't even make logical sense. People who saying that they want to be neighbors only with each other ain't hateful at all. You can't make a rational argument that it's hateful. What are you talking about?
Most importantly, don't be silent.
Wait. So
Stop it. So, I just want everybody to know, not everybody, black men, I can only really speak for black men, have a problem with this. Knock yourself out. In fact, like I said, take notes. Other groups need to take notes. Now, I'm going to come back very soon because, like several other black men, today I was very disturbed by a case that surfaced, and we're going to have to deal with this. I'm going to have to touch on this, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I have to touch on it. Because those of you who follow me, you probably saw the post that I made not long ago. And I'm looking for the original video. It's this video right here. If you haven't watched it, you probably want to watch it. Your discretion advised. This is extremely disturbing. Extremely disturbing. But the truth is, there are several other stories that are just like it, or very close, where these women, and I know that they're not FBA, but I'm telling you, this has always been a global issue. Their lack of self-esteem, their inferiority complex was global. It was a global thing. That's why you find them all over the world worshiping these people. And you find them all over the world with this hatred for their own kids. for themselves. You understand? The women with the most intense inferiority complex are the most destructive. There's nothing surprising about this. They are the most dangerous. They are the most evil. This is just what it is. I wish I had this video where they got into depth about this. That a woman's self-esteem is connected to her sanity. Women's view of self, their self-esteem, the degree to which they feel confident, beautiful, loved, attractive, is connected to their sanity. And when they suffer from an intense inferiority complex, they are going to be evil, hateful, violent. They're not going to respect or take care of themselves, which is another way of launching attacks against themselves, and they are going to launch attacks against others. In my opinion, this is a simple case of a collective inferiority complex. That is for another stream. I will leave this one alone.